Welcome, everyone, to an episode of the Gorilla Consultants podcast here. I don't know what we're going to call these things now. We've gone through so many different names of what these podcasts are. We're just going to start doing podcasts hosted by the Gorilla Consultants. So that's a new change. We are no longer Gorilla Gurus. We are Gorilla Consultants. So gorillaconsultants.com, and all the socials are changing, and the rebrand will be done before the end of the year. Very exciting. Although your shirt still says Gorilla Gurus. We still got some more work to do.
Yeah, put some tape over it.
Exactly. So I think we could maybe talk about why we're changing the name.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Gurus was always sort of a joke, right? Like guerrilla marketing is the sort of antithesis of organization. Well, not really. I mean, guerrillas organize, but the Gurus has always been, to me, it was a joke, right? And it just flowed off the tongue so well. It's like, oh, it made sense. But I feel like the guru word just carries such a negative implication. And anybody that calls themselves a guru, I feel like is just a pompous ass. So I think that's maybe translated incorrectly and not in our favor.
Well, I think it was like kind of poking fun at them.
It was the whole thing. It was poking fun at gurus, but calling it. I don't think anybody got the joke, right? Like,
because I think back to
it took too much explaining.
2017, 2018, right? If you met somebody in the marketing space, they handed you a business card and it said guru, SEO guru,
right?
Social media guru, and it was like, are you though, right? And then you'd engage them, and you quickly find out that
no,
they were not, right? So when we talked about the name years ago, I was like, yeah, that's funny, right? It was a joke.
Right.
But I think people take us too seriously. So
which I don't know how they take us so seriously when we have a giant gorilla in front of our building, we don't take ourselves too seriously. So
does it work though?
It works wonderfully.
Yeah. People will come in and they're like, yeah, I don't know what this is about, but tell me about it. It's like, okay, yeah.
Right.
That's good.
It's good stuff, and I'm excited for Gorilla Consultants moving forward. We're kind of in a revamp phase. We've been focusing a lot of attention on SignParrot and getting it back up and not sinking and not on fire, which has been great. When we bought that company, it was literally a sinking ship on fire, and
so bad.
So bad. And you feel like you get the fires out, and then there's just a bunch of them hiding under the surface.
It reminds me of the movie Backdraft, right? They would put out the fire, and then there'd just be this, very climactic scene of the ceiling, and all of a sudden there's flames coming from behind them. That's what it felt like day in and day out over there.
It's just every day was a new buzzsaw, a new fire.
Before we go any further, can we introduce Sophia?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry. So Sophia is joining us on the podcast and has been with us for several months now. It's been a long time since we've done a podcast. So Sophia is now the manager of Gorilla Consultants, was also playing double duty and helping with customer service and getting the fires at SignParrot put out. And now we're kind of refocusing the energy and the attention back to Gorilla Consultants. That's why we're here doing a podcast. So excited to have you.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi,
somewhere up north too at some point, right?
Yes. So
all over the place.
Anything from Michigan, Baltimore area, Maryland area, and then spent most of my life in Mississippi. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I had the awesome opportunity to join this team, so I took it. Yep.
Now, did you move to Tampa for this job?
I did. Yes.
That's sick.
Sir.
Yeah, we were. So the first time we talked was over Zoom, and I was like, wow, she's very prepped and trained to interview. This is kind of interesting, right? Because it put me on my toes, and then I got to thinking. I was like, hey, are you moving to Tampa anyways? She was like, no, I'd like to be in Florida, and I was like, oh. Okay, right, and this is what an opportunity to have somebody come in and kind of get their feet wet in this market, right? Which is very interesting right now. It's busy.
Tampa is very busy. Traffic is atrocious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Go back home, all you snowbirds. Go back home.
In Mississippi, I always say traffic. Hey now, that is not. We're still in the South.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
We're still in the South. But I always say traffic in Mississippi is one stop sign with 3 cars. And that's traffic in Mississippi. This is
It's a different animal.
Yes.
It
Oh my
is.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I definitely think twice before leaving my house.
You have to like map out what time of the day you're going to leave to avoid traffic in any direction, right? And in some cases, you're better just to sit tight and kill some time because you can be productive or have an experience and do something fun in the same amount of time that it would take for you to just sit in your car and drive through it. It's just, it's crazy.
Welcome to the team, Sophia.
Yes,
you.
yes.
Welcome to
it's
the
been-
podcast.
welcome to the
Thank you.
podcast. Excited to have you, and you'll see a lot of new faces come through here in the podcast. I'm kind of relinquishing the host seat and gonna take a step back and still be part and still be involved, but let you guys run and do stuff without me too.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that and see what you guys come up with. So what else is new in the world of
Like, can we just, kind of like get to it? What happened?
you talking about
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We got to know what happened.
Well, so I was in Copenhagen speaking at the non-event for Inkish TV.
Okay.
And the day of my speech that night, I had stepped outside and slipped on some ice. I knocked myself unconscious, so I basically did like a face plant into a planter, a concrete block, essentially. Knocked myself unconscious, tried to stand up, and I'm piecing this together the best I can remember it, right? Tried to stand up, and I didn't have my constitutions back and fell back over and smashed my face. At which point the adrenaline kicked in and all the blood and all that stuff. So I spent the night in a hospital in Copenhagen and got up and made it just in time for my flights to London. We can actually throw a couple of pictures up so you can see what it looked like. I've got what it really looked like when it happened. I look much better now.
Yeah.
I second that.
I applaud your honesty, right? I would have come back with a way cooler story.
Right.
10 guys, like.
Should have seen them.
You should see that, right? They were in the hospital too. I was still talking, right? So, I'm glad you got back all right. Obviously there was some concern.
Right.
I got the message, but yeah, you're healing up quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm healing quick, and my nose, I think, is probably the worst part of it, and it'll eventually get fixed. My septum is like literally hanging into my nostril. It's gnarl. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's the funny thing about it is I was super embarrassed by it, right? So I like tried to hide and super humiliated that, and I'm clumsy, right? And I've kind of come to the realization of how clumsy I am because I'm super ADD and super ADHD. And apparently that is a symptom of that, right? You run into things, you bump into things, and I'm covered in scars. I bump my toes all the time.
Then you mix ice into that.
Yeah, and alcohol too. Let's be frank.
Okay.
I'd had drinks that night too, It wasn't like I was sober.
I don't think
when
that
this
even
happened.
needed to be said, right? We don't have ice here, right? So that's something. I was just thinking about this. A year ago, Lloyd and I took a trip to Pittsburgh, like a year ago, almost to the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and I grew up, I lived in Philadelphia. I'd been in snow and ice, but I forgot, right? And the first time I stepped on ice, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is not fun, right? So I was picturing you in Copenhagen, when was the last time Will was stepping on ice?
Oh, over a decade.
Yeah.
So long. And I mean, we were up in our hotel room watching people walk down the trail and just bite it, and we're laughing. So it was it was karma. Coming back,
Okay. The plot thickens.
It's really, it's a beautiful view. We're on the harbor or the ocean. It was, really, really pretty. And we're looking down, and you just see people just biting it left and right, walking down these
That
trails.
would have been
So
great content to get.
it would have been great content to get.
That would have been a great.
We know Sophia's marketing style a little better now, right?
It's like if you whack yourself in the head in front of your kids, they laugh. People want to see the people get hurt.
Good clickbait.
Yep. So some changes have happened here with Gorilla Consultants. Obviously, the name first, right?
Right.
The team's a little bit different now. Sophia's kind of running point there and really just stepping in and doing a hell of a job, right? And something that I've kind of noticed in working with the team is our ability to execute on different strategies and different platforms is actually very, very high right now.
It is.
Right? So what's kind of your goal? What angle do you want to attack strongest going into 2024?
I mean, for Guerrilla Consultants, I really want to take the more consultative approach, right? We've always kind of been that way, where when we're onboarding a new client, we sit down, what's your message? What's your brand voice? How can we help you speak that brand voice? What do you want to do from a marketing standpoint, right? We're very versatile in the services that we can offer and the things that we can do, so we can tailor things based off of the needs of the brand. Certain products or certain services don't do well with search engine optimization, and some do amazing with it, and vice versa for social media. There's certain things that you can market on social media, and there's certain things that are just going to fall on deaf ears. So being able to instruct clients on what to do, and we've also always taken the educational standpoint, right? Where it's like, we're going to show you what we do. There's no hidden curtain, right? Tell you everything that we're going to do. If you want to do it yourself, great. There's more tools now and more ways to execute marketing on your own than there ever has been, which makes it really fun for us because there's so many new toys to play with and figure out and do some really crazy stuff, right? So we're always learning and educating ourselves and passing that knowledge on to customers. But again, like, I would rather them sit down and say, hey, what do you think we should do? And pay us to be consultants. We can execute as well, but I think where a lot of our value comes is actually saying, hey, this is how you do it, setting you up to where you can kind of do it on your own.
Right. Yeah. And I think going along with that, kind of how we built Guerrilla Gurus was having, package services that were kind of, not necessarily one size fits all, but it was just out of the box. Here you go.
Correct.
Here's what we're going to do for you, and that's not at all my personality or yours, right?
No.
And I don't think it's our strong suit either, right?
No, and I think one of the pitfalls of it was trying to make this one size fits all. Like, hey, this is the social media package. Hey, this is the SEO package, and this is the pricing. And we went back and forth on like, okay, well, we have pricing on the website now. We don't have pricing on the website, and kind of always kind of in flux on how we were presenting that, because it was difficult to try to figure out how to package that for people to understand it. And I think going this direction and being, again, consultants and saying this is what we think and what do you think, and it being a dialogue, and we can build a campaign that's specific to them based on their real needs.
Well, on that note, right? So this week, we look at one of our clients and we look at some things going on that are very important to their business, and how can we capitalize on that? And we get with Sophia and the team, and we say, hey, give us something along these lines, right? And we get some video back within a couple hours, right? And then I take that and create an audience campaign, and I create a geofencing audience, and I kind of stack these different targets for them to show these video ads to, right? I launch it yesterday. I leave work. It's pending approval, right? I come in this morning and I've got contact form submissions asking to, reserve spots for this event, right? That quick, right? And I think that's what happens when we just kind of like take the ball and run, right? And that's more that consultative approach, right? And what we had a lot with Guerrilla Gurus is kind of this, hey, we want to proof everything before you do it, and it just doesn't fit. I think it's our personalities more than anything, right?
Well, it's also execution, right? So when you want to see everything before it goes out, it slows the execution process down. To the point, this particular situation, we had 2 days to promote an event, essentially, right? The event's happening today. We launched the campaign yesterday. Well, we launched one of the campaigns yesterday. We launched all the social media the day before. On the day that we got it, basically, we found out about the event on, what was it, Wednesday morning? Wednesday morning, we had everything posted on social media by lunchtime on Wednesday. Posts, reel, story, all of them boosted to specific audience demographics that are targeted for the content and the event. 2 events, actually, one on Friday, one on Saturday. Rolled the next one out the next day, did the exact same thing, rinse, repeat. And to your point, yeah, I mean, we had a new landing page up all within a few hours, and getting immediate response. To see that in real time is exciting and a lot of fun, actually.
I think it's a great case study for us, right?
For sure.
What can happen when we give a little inspiration to Sophia, right? And then she works with the team to actually turn out a product that we can use, right? And then defining where we want that to go, right? And allowing us to collaborate on that on our end. And really, we get these kind of results when we're given that rein, right? When we don't do good when we're handcuffed, right? It's just none of the three of us work well under those conditions, right? So I thought it was a great opportunity, because it's really one of the first times that we've gotten to do that, right? Where we just said, hey, you know what? We're not even going to tell them.
Yeah, we're just going to do it.
Right, we're just going to do it.
Because it needs to get done.
And see what happens, right? And then I come in this morning and I'm like, oh, there's contact submissions. There's people trying to reserve tables, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're going to ask where that came from, And I think the question has to exist, right? Like, hey, how did you do that, right? And then we can go back and show them, like, look, this is what happens when we're given that kind of creative freedom, right, to just run, right?
Well, to see the audience go from static graphic design post to we posted a video, we have more going, to see that audience go from, sorry to say this, but like 10 people to reaching almost 100 plus people, it makes such a big difference being able to have that design creativity, the video creativity, and having a team support you in that.
100%. Well, I mean, the content in itself is important too. To your point, the flat graphic design ad style of posts, we used to crush with that stuff in the 2010s and even into 2020.
Yeah.
But the content that's being put out on social media now is so different.
Yeah.
And anything that looks like an ad is going to immediately be ignored.
Yep.
So you have to be even more creative in the content that you're putting out. And really what it is it's what I'm seeing is everything is benefit driven, right? So benefit driven content. How can I give you something that's going to benefit you, whether it's like a shopping tip or makeup tip or or if it's a restaurant, like it's not just about the food that we offer. How does this food going to, is it healthy for you? Is it something that you're going to enjoy? Well, I mean, that's kind of always marketing. But the point of it is the content has to be more about the person that's viewing it than it does about the person that's presenting it, right? Yep. Which is a very difficult challenge when you're talking about businesses, right? Because all businesses want to do is talk about us, right? We want to inform you about what we do so that you as the consumer can get that information and decide whether or not you need my services, right? But that proposition doesn't work in the social media space really anymore, at least not if you want to be successful. So this is sort of a new epiphany for me. So I'm excited again to see how we continue to evolve our content and the content for our clients as well to adhere to these new trends.
Well, and we're very lucky, right? Because we work in these kind of three unique spaces, right? So we have this experience with a customer base that's very diverse, right? I mean, just from Tampa Printer, right?
Yeah.
The customer base that we have there being as diverse as it is. But then when you expand it out into our digital clients and our signage and things like that, we get to learn so much about them that it tells us how to communicate with them, right? And I think what we've done at SignParrot over the last 6 months in terms of generating awareness and what our marketing has kind of evolved into there is special in itself, right? And I think what it was is that we started talking more to the customer about, the things that they want and need versus what we want to give them, right? And that process can be replicated over and over, right? It's just a matter of figuring out who you're trying to talk to and what's important to them, right? And
when dealing with the customers and things like that up front, they always want to know, like, okay, where is my sign? Like, what's the process? What's going on? And now that we've got some more content that's showing a lot more behind the scenes, everybody's really excited about that because they're like, well, I want to see my stuff getting printed. I want to see my sign being made. So
they love that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They love that. Every time that one of our customers is in like any of our ad mat, right, and they see it, they think it's us doing them a favor, right? And it kind of is, but we're happy to, right? Especially when it's like a really great customer to work with. I'm happy to plug them and give them a shout out. And, increase their brand awareness, sure, right? But they love it even more, right?
And it also expands on what we can do, the designs we're able to make, and just our team in general.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of exciting stuff. We kind of wanted to just do a quick one of catch up, right? It's been quite some time since we've done a podcast. So we're going to start doing a lot more regularly. The idea is to bring in some guests as well. So if you've got a business in Tampa Bay and you want to come on the podcast and talk about it, and talk about marketing, hit us up, come see us. We'll put you on the podcast. Check us out on social media, GorillaConsultants.com. And we're now on Instagram at Gorilla Consultants.
Yes.
Okay. Instagram, Gorilla Consultants. I think we need to update the YouTube still, though. YouTube's still probably Gorilla Gurus.
YouTube and Facebook, I think, still need to get updated.
Facebook, I took care of.
Facebook's
Look
done?
at you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right. So we got to get YouTube fixed.
Yes.
So we're still on Gorilla Gurus for YouTube, but we'll get that updated soon as well.
Yep.
So follow us, like us, check us out, and we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome.